Okay, I'm gonna go off the rails just a little bit, just a minute. Okay, guys, I normally keep my cool really, really well. I am normally really chill. However, today I encountered something that was just not okay, and I need to say something. You know, not often do I have a story time, but today I have a story time, and yeah, this is gonna be a long one, and you're probably gonna have your mind just blown because the audacity. And normally I keep my channel super positive, but at the same time I deal with reality. So let's talk about some reality. Today I had one of the worst experiences I have ever had when it comes to encountering another group of people at a location. Let me explain what happened. I'm going to paint the picture for you. Today I'm out exploring the Soda Springs area, to which you've already seen those videos. Those videos came out a bit ago. And I am having a good old time just filming these 3 spring areas. One's a geyser, one's like a park that has a big spring that's just like really pretty and cold and bubbles and has carbonation, and the other one is a very small one. So I have 3 stops in this entire town that I need to do. The first one, I see some people who are doing some stuff they're not supposed to do. They're walking on the crust of the geyser when it very specifically says don't. Okay, fine. You're taking your own life into your own hands. At that point, even though it's wrong, it doesn't affect me. I go to the next park, however, and I waited my turn because the way that the spring is shaped, it's kind of in this like building that kind of dips down. And so there's a family who's sitting there and they're just having a good old time talking away, not really caring too much about the spring, but at the same time, I'm respectful. So they finally finish up. I go down, I do my stuff. No big deal. Everything's great. I then go to this bridge right behind this, and there's literally no one because the family's moved on. There's no other guests there or anything. So I'm just standing on this bridge and I'm filming this beautiful waterway. It's really nice. It's nice and peaceful. It's calm. And then all of a sudden, the kid from that original family just runs up over the bridge, takes his full fist, and just waylays me in the leg, like buckling in my leg. Thank goodness I was holding onto my camera, and then just laughs. Thought it was super funny. I'm a very calm person. I'm a very patient person, and I am respectful to people. However, first reaction to getting punched is never going to be a, oh my gosh, yay, thank you so much. It is instead going to be a visceral reaction that happened. With that said, I try really, really hard to be aware of my reactions. So when I saw this was a child, my initial reaction was, what? And then I saw his mom. So at that moment, it was just like, okay, I can say something to her. So I said, oh my gosh, your kid just punched me. She looks at me with her whole everything in her being and says,
so he can do what he wants.
Excuse me? Excuse me. In what reality do you live that it's okay for your child to fist punch in the leg any human at all? It's just not okay. It's not an acceptable thing. So then it got better. I walked away. I had nothing positive to say, nothing. It was not going to come out well. I knew that. I was like, there's no way getting through to her. She's fine with her kid being a jerk. It's fine. I'm just going to walk myself somewhere else. So I went over to a covered bridge and I was filming the covered bridge and I came all the way across and then I wanted to do one shot of the covered bridge. So there was another family who'd walked across. So I was waiting. And as I was waiting, I was just like, okay, cool. I'm just going to take my time. Well, up behind me walks this little kid again. As you can imagine, it was a lovely interaction. As he noticed that I was trying to frame my shot, he was watching and he just started going, So I just stopped. I was like, okay, cool. Let the kid do his thing. I'm not going to sit here and play with this child again because he's already ball punched me in the leg. I'm not okay with this. Like, hard, guys. So I sat there for like 3 or 4 minutes just waiting for him to not and for him to go on to the playground that he was in the pursuit of. And instead of doing that, he takes both of his hands and shoves me toward the water. Again, his mom's right there. I turn around and my reaction was not as pleasant as the time before. I kind of lost it a little bit because at this point, now your child has physically touched my body twice in a not okay way, aggressively, like shoved. Kid's super small. So the kid shoves me in an inappropriate place to shove me. right in the butt. And I was just like, okay, first and foremost, I don't feel comfortable with your child touching me, period. Secondly, I definitely don't feel comfortable with your child touching me in the butt. I just don't. I will say this, the next 5 minutes of my life are pretty not okay. At that point, I stood up for myself and I was just like, absolutely not. Take a deep breath. Let's handle this. So I told this woman, I was just like, hey ma'am, I'm sure that you're fine with your kid doing whatever, but I personally am not. I'm a stranger. I don't know your child. I don't want to know your child. Your child should not be touching a total stranger. They shouldn't be really shoving or pushing anyone. But if you want your child to do these things, I'm going to have to call someone and make a report. And I know that sounds very caring of me, but at this point I've tried super hard to just be nice to this woman and be like, hey, your kid punched me. And she was just like,
I do not care.
and then, hey, your kid shoved me and touched me inappropriately. And she was like,
I don't care.
and I was just like, you might not care, but I do care. That's the thing. You can't go through life thinking that everything is just about you being okay with your kid doing really terrible things. And so I just kind of sat there and had to come to Jesus with this lady and was just like, hey, this is the thought. This is a public space. This is a public park. Anyone can be here. Your child can be here. I can be here. That doesn't mean we have to coexist in the same bubble. I am not okay, and I'm telling you that. And she had the audacity to say,
Oh, you're one of those.
excuse me? I'm one of those people who doesn't want to be touched by a random stranger. I'm one of those people who isn't okay with being waylaid by your child. I think you can see where this went. It did not go well. In fact, it went so poorly that I was just like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna leave. And I kind of indicated, okay, ma'am, I'm just gonna go back to my vehicle. I'm gonna get out of here. That way you can have the whole park to yourself. Again, not my finest hour. And I admit that fully. But at the same time, she then proceeded to decide to call me a nice name that's not so nice and say that I didn't have to be a that word. And I just looked at her and I was just like, full stop. At that point, we are done. I have tried. And you called me the name that I will not repeat on my channel. But at that point, Not Nice Bunny came out to play and was just like, I have no idea why you would have the audacity to call me that word, because I'm just minding my business. Your kid is a holy terror. And I felt kind of bad about it because obviously, like, I just called her kid a bad thing. But at the same time, dude! Moral of the story, when you go out into public, act like you're in public. It shouldn't be that hard. But for some people, it apparently is. And it's really unfortunate because that took a wonderful, glowing experience that I was having. And it turned it into something that was just like, You know, I am a person who is childless, and I understand that. And I understand people think that their children are wonderful. And most children that I've encountered are wonderful. However, I've also encountered people who simply let their kids run feral. And I think that there's somewhere in between that you can have like a happy median, but the minute that your child touches another person is a problem. And that should not be something that is acceptable. Like, it just shouldn't be. And in all the time that I've traveled, in all of the weird interactions that I've had, I've never experienced this. I was literally shoved and punched by a child, and their parent was just like,
I literally don't care.
Like I said, I normally keep it positive here on the channel, but I needed to vent today. I needed to just say these things because I just couldn't even fathom the audacity that I encountered on this particular occasion. And so I thought this story time was warranted. But I always like to find the positive in situations. So let's pull it in. Let's pull it in and find the positive, guys. When you're doing van life, when you are doing traveling, and when you are going from place to place, the fact of the matter is you're going to encounter people. Some are going to be good, some are not so good. Choose your words wisely. This woman, even though I knew it wasn't going to get through to her, for some reason, it just got under my skin so much that I viscerally reacted to her nastiness. And then I felt bad about it because that made me have to come out of character, and I don't like that. But it also taught me that some people just really don't care about others. So, moral of the story, be considerate. If you have a kid, don't let them run wild and be feral, and possibly don't assault others. And I know there's going to be people watching this video who are like,
They didn't assault you.
yes, technically any kind of act of physical violence is assault, and that could have been something that could have gotten them in trouble if I would have called the cops. I chose not to. I just took myself out of the situation. At the same time, that kid's gonna have a hard life, and I know that. And unfortunately, being a teacher's kid, a TK, I've seen a lot of kids who have done a lot of stupid things, and unfortunately, that mom is not making her kid's life easier by letting them just violently waylay on people. And again, I'm not overreacting. The kid literally balled their fist and buckled my leg. I have thick legs, guys. I am not easily buckled. So that was a big thing. And yeah, I'm gonna calm down a little bit, and then I'm gonna hit the road to my next adventures. But I thought that story time might put it into perspective, that while we're out here, out in these streets, doing the things that we do, we are not all the same. And unfortunately today, that was like the worst encounter I've had in 7.5 years interacting with like a family. I don't know. I always have been taught that if you respect others, that they'll respect you, and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I just know that like I would never randomly run up to anybody and think it's okay or justified to be violent whatsoever. So watch out there, guys. You never know what you'll find. And sometimes kindness, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Remember, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time, and woosah. I'm gonna get back to my good times now, but I'll see you later. Bye.